Welcome to Eat Right by George, the healthy cooking show that shows you healthy can be delicious. And speaking of delicious, today we'll be preparing a gluten-free pizza. Yes, gluten-free pizza. And for gluten-free pizza, we're going to need a gluten-free flour mix. And this one consists of brown rice flour, potato flour, whole millet flour, sourdough gum flour. So there's no wheat products in this whatsoever, because I know many people out there are gluten sensitive or have been diagnosed with some type of gluten sensitive disorder. So we're going to be using gluten-free flour for this, and also yeast that's not brewer's yeast, just regular dry yeast, 1 packet. We're also going to be using vegetables like red peppers and yellow peppers and orange peppers as well to give it color. We'll be substituting these for the pepperoni, so no, there won't be any pepperoni in this gluten-free pizza because we want it to be more healthy, and pepperoni can be kind of greasy and high in saturated fat. We're also going to be using some green onions, which we're going to be chopping. We'll be using a couple tablespoons of olive oil, 2 eggs, about 2 or 3 tablespoons of pizza sauce, and of course mozzarella cheese. No pizza is complete without some mozzarella cheese. So we're going to get started here on Eat Right by George. The first thing I'm going to do, so we are making the dough from scratch here, is put my yeast in my bowl and add a 1.5 cups of warm water. Now, you don't want your water too hot. You just want it lukewarm, because you don't want to kill the yeast. Because that's what happens a lot of times when we are working with yeast. We make the water too hot or too cold sometimes. It's not quite warm enough, and the yeast can't be activated. And remember, check the dates on your yeast, because yeast usually will not last more than a year. And if you're using yeast that is expired, it could affect the finished product, your finished dough. So what I've done here is dissolve my yeast in some warm water, and to this I'm going to add 2 eggs. The eggs are going to give it some energy to help it rise, and a couple tablespoons of olive oil, extra virgin, as you can see, nice and green. The greener the better. And I'm going to mix these up here in my little bowl. Get these out of the way. I could get an electric mixer and do this, but I just have this little hand mixer. It makes it a lot easier. So I'm only going to use it for a couple seconds here just to get things mixed up. Okay, I'll put that aside, bring my bowl here, add my mixture. So what I have in here so far is 1.5 cups warm water, a packet of perfect rise yeast, and next I'm going to add my whole grain mix here, my gluten-free mix. This is going to be the pizza dough itself. And then just take a wooden spoon and mix this up. As you can see here, really simple and easy. A lot of people that have a gluten sensitivity many times feel that they can't have things like pizza because they contain wheat products. Well, nowadays it's not true. You can have pizza, you can have gluten-free pizza. Products that are out there are really improved a lot. As I know, it used to be many years ago, anything that was like gluten-free wasn't too tasty or didn't work out right. But the store shelves now are just full of gluten-free products that are actually good quality. And this dough is really quite easy to work with. I was a little bit worried at first when I heard gluten-free dough, pizza dough. I thought it would be hard to handle, but actually sometimes it seems like it's even easier than the regular pizza dough to handle. When you make the dough, it won't be super smooth. This type of dough is not really super smooth, but it actually is quite easy to handle. It does not stick to your hands. So I'll put this aside. You don't really need this like a regular dough either. You just sort of play with it. Get these things out of our way. And actually the next part is getting a pizza pan and brushing it with some olive oil. So I'm going to put a little olive oil on the bottom. As you know, olive oil is a monounsaturated fat. Helps to keep our cholesterol levels healthy. It's good for your heart. So I generously brush our pan with the olive oil. Now this is the fun part, is taking the dough now and pushing it down. You can use a rolling pin, although it does stick a little bit to it. But if you want to use a rolling pin, you can to kind of even it out. But I find that with this type of dough, it's easier to use your hands and just sort of move it around and press it. And wherever you see where it's more dough, you want to press it to the side where there's less. So as you can see here, just using my hands, and pressing the dough apart. And just take your time. Keep it even as possible. You want the pizza to look really delicious and spectacular. And of course with pizza, you don't want the dough to be too thick. Pizza should be thin and crispy. Now, depending on how you want it, you can make it all the way to the end of the pan if you like. If you want it to go farther, I'm going to probably stop about right here with mine. And next what you want to do is pinch the ends of your dough in order to make a crust. So what I'm doing here, sort of pinching it all the way around to make the crust. And I bet you didn't know that the busiest day at pizzerias, busiest holiday at pizzerias is Halloween. It's the time of year that people order the most pizzas. Now there are some pizzerias that do offer gluten-free pizza. You just have to check. Or you can make your own. You can actually make this crust ahead of time and freeze it. Then take it out when you're ready for it. Just want to pinch it here, all the way around, press it down a little bit, and there you have it, a little pizza dough. Now what you want to do next is take what I like to do Just take a pastry brush and brush the crust with a little olive oil to give it some color. Give it that golden brown color that makes it so appetizing. I'm going to show you some of the tricks of the trades here. But not too much olive oil, it becomes mushy. And I like to put a few sesame seeds all the way around. So take some sesame seeds for the crust. Some people like to brush it with a little garlic powder. Give it the garlic crust. That sounds delicious. You know, garlic is so good for us. And now in order to make the crust to avoid having bubbles in it, I like to take a fork and just go back and forth here on the crust. There's also some pizzerias, they have a little tool for this. But here at home, you can just use a little fork, go around. And now the fun part, taking some pizza sauce, put a couple tablespoons in the center and move it around. Now be careful with pizza sauce, because if you put too much, it can make the pizza a little runny and you want it to be crispy. So I like to take a couple tablespoons and move the sauce all the way to the ends of the pizza, to the crust here. Maybe a little bit more, probably 2.5 tablespoons for this one. It smells so good. And then, as you can see, that should be about the right consistency. You don't want too much sauce. Sometimes people go a little bit overboard on the sauce, and it makes the dough soggy. And you definitely don't want that. When you put it in the oven, the pizza will overflow with sauce, and then it drips all over. So you want to be kind of moderate with the sauce. Even though it's very healthy, the tomato sauce has all the vegetables in it, tomatoes and peppers and spices. Then I'm taking low moisture mozzarella cheese, and I'm putting that around. And sometimes people go overboard on the cheese as well. So you really don't want too much cheese, or that's going to make the pizza also too moist, have too much water. So I'm just putting moderate amount, just enough to cover the pizza. And what I do next is kind of let it rest, let the dough rise a little bit before I add anything else. I'm going to put that aside. And then next, I want to chop up my vegetables. I have all kinds of fresh vegetables here. I'll start off with my red pepper. I'm going to chop the top off and clean up the inside. We'll use this bowl as a... As I've mentioned in other shows, the red pepper is a great source of vitamin C. And what better place than to put it on your pizza? So once you've taken the red pepper, you want to slice it in half, then into julienne strips. So if you're looking at food labels and trying to decide whether they have wheat products, look at the ingredients. If it says anything says wheat on there, then you know that it's not a good choice. Other things like barley could have gluten in them as well. And gluten actually is a protein that is present in bread that keeps the dough strands together. It helps the dough to rise. And many people have a sensitivity to this. They cannot digest foods that contain gluten. And it's something that's really become more common in the recent years. And many people feel better when they eliminate gluten products from their diet. So if you're one of those people that have been told that you should eliminate gluten, then this pizza would be a perfect type of food to have. So here's some red peppers. And then we'll do some yellow. Give it some color. Now if you don't have red peppers on hand, you can chop up some spinach. Pineapple is another great topping for pizza. Once again, just pop the top off, clean the inside, cut your pepper in half. And chop the peppers. This is kind of a dice. And the last one is an orange pepper. The red ones tend to be sweeter, so it's going to give your pizza that little sweet flavor. You want to chop that in half once again. And color. It's important to get color in our diet. If we don't have color in our diet, it's not going to be very healthy. More colorful vegetables, the better. And even the American Cancer Society recommends 9 to 13 vegetables every day, believe it or not, every day. So the more veggies you can get in your diet, the better. And this is a great way because you're getting your veggies from the peppers, you're getting vegetables from the sauce. So you're getting a good combination of vegetables. I like to even put a few green onions. So take a couple green onions now. Make sure to cut the roots off. You definitely don't want those in there. And take your French knife. And when green onions are cooked, they also produce a certain sweetness as well. And go all the way. A lot of people ask me, should I cut all the way into the green part? I say, sure. That's where a lot of the nutrients are in the green part there. So now you have your different veggies. How about some herbs? We have some fresh basil. Basil is perfect for pizza. Fresh basil smells so good. You can actually grow basil all year long, even indoors. You can take and actually sprout your own basil. If you take the top and put it in a little bit of water, you can actually sprout another one, and then you put it in a glass and just change the water, and you'll see the roots come out. Once they come out, you can actually plant this. So I'm chopping some basil. Why don't I make your pizza fresh instead of buying it? A lot of people tend to buy pizza, and not all pizzas are great that you buy. You're not always happy with the end product. Sometimes they're too greasy, and it shouldn't be that way. So we have our herbs here. We have our veggies. So next is put them on our pizza after it's risen for about 10-15 minutes. I start off with a few red peppers, a few yellow peppers. Make sure to spread them around. A few of our green onions. Look at the color on that. Some of our herbs. And spread them around. I have just enough here, so it's really about 2 tablespoons of each that you're putting on the pizza. And this is great for the kids. They need to get their veggies. This is perfect. Now remember, with pizza, you want to cook it, bake it at a very high temperature. So have your oven preheated to 425. So with pizza, you don't want to bake it at 350. That's too low. So I would pop this into the oven after it's been resting for about 10 minutes. I would pop it into the oven. Get my things out of the way. Then I would take it out and slice it. Get my table out squared away here. And it's good to have a little pizza slicer. It's much easier that way. Let me run over to my oven here. And there you have it. Look at there. Fresh out of the oven, a gluten-free pizza. Now slice this. Give you kind of an idea how it is. Now when you're slicing a pizza, make sure to slice it first in half down the center. It's much easier with a pizza wheel, depending on the people, how many people you have. And slice it once again. So kind of a crisscross. And then I would do it once again. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 slices. So this would feed 8 people. If you wanted just samples, you could slice them once again. This is a pretty good size here. And I would take my pizza. Look at this. Very colorful. Put it on my plate. And I like to even take just a little bit of olive oil and just drizzle it over the top. Just for added health, added nutrition. And there you have it. There's a beautiful slice of pizza with all the different colors. You're getting all your food groups. You're getting your whole grains from the dough, the vegetables from the different types of peppers. Also the sauce that I made was tomato sauce, which I've added onions to it, and red peppers, garlic, and basil. And I blended them all together, fresh tomatoes. I made a fresh tomato sauce, which I added to it. I'm using low moisture cheese for my milk group, because as you know, we should get a little bit of all the food groups in our diet. So we got red peppers, green peppers, mozzarella cheese, and we're also getting some herbs from the basil, which is so fresh, smells so good, all in one meal. So if you say that it's impossible to get all the food groups in one meal, well, it's not impossible, because you can do it actually with a gluten-free pizza. And if you're worried about gluten, well, this recipe is also for you. You can use this and enjoy it, because many people that are gluten sensitive feel that they can't have nice things like pizza. But actually you can. You just have to look for some really neat products that are out there and put it together. And look how quickly I was able to make this in just a few minutes. Well, I want to thank you for joining me here on Eat Right by George, the healthy cooking show that shows you healthy can be delicious. Make sure to visit us on Facebook. You can actually visit our Facebook page and become our friend. Show us some of your creations. You may have been watching the Eat Right by George show and tried to do some of the recipes. We've done some great ones in the past as well. We've done banana nut bread, zucchini brownie muffins. We've done pumpkin bread, egg Greek omelets, Greek scallops. So they're just wonderful recipes. My mouth is watering already. Just can't wait to try this pizza. And I hope you also do too. So I want to thank you once again for watching Eat Right by George, the healthy cooking show that shows you healthy can be delicious. Enjoy your pizza, everyone.